Okay, y'all, today I want to talk about something that we probably are familiar with if we've done anything in management before. That's the Peter Principle. The Peter Principle, if you're unfamiliar or just forgot, is when we have a worker who's really good at their job down here. They are so good at their job, they get promoted. So they get promoted and they're over here and they're making money and they're being happy and successful. And then that same worker will get promoted again. And once they get up here, maybe they're in upper management, they are not that happy and not that successful. That is because skills that work here and here in lower, in like frontline staff and lower management positions, maybe in middle management, do not work in big management positions. That person sucks. Their valuation is down. They are unhappy. The CEO, of course, didn't provide any management training for this poor bastard, doesn't understand why the skills that worked on the factory floor are not working in upper management. And that person either just doesn't get fired because they're not that bad, but they also don't get promoted, right? And we have a stagnant company. The main principle of, or the main example of the Peter Principle is that workers get promoted to the level of their incompetence. If we notice anything about this structure, if we are ourselves engaged in anti-racism, we find that usually this applies to white men. White men get promoted to the level of their incompetence. People of color and women do not usually experience this trajectory, right? But I actually don't want to talk about the Peter Principle today. I want to talk about something that I call the Pat Principle. And I call it the Pat Principle because it happens to people who are generally not white, not men, not straight, not Christian, etc. The Pat Principle is when we retrain successful workers to become failing managers. So in the Pat Principle, we have our worker, but this is not Peter. This is Pat. Pat is really good at her job. She's really competent. She has a host of really good skills that make her extremely valuable and would actually make her really good management material, right? Pat is clear. She is efficient. She has emotional intelligence. Whatever, right? She has logistics skills. How do you spell logistics, everybody? Logisti, right? Etc. She's got all this on board. But the CEO, he does not have these skills, right? He's like a Nepo baby or something. Oh, perhaps, maybe. It's Peter himself, the man who has been promoted beyond his competence, right? He's not good at things. He is sad that he's not good at anything. Here we have Pat, clearly very good at all these things. Makes CEO Peter feel very bad in his stupid, incompetent heart. And so what does he do? He either promotes other people above Pat, so she leaves the organization, who don't have her skills, so that they can profit from her skills without having to pay her what she's worth. Or when she finally does get promoted, there is this big issue between her getting promoted, and that is a retraining correction. Right? She gets told, Pat, you're too aggressive. Pat, you're not, you don't have any patience. Pat, you're too in your feelings. Pat, you contradict upper management too much. You know your job too well. You're making us uncomfortable, Pat. You need to be nicer. You need to stop saying things like that. You need to not be so aggressive. You should not be able to point out when other departments don't hit their KPIs and you do. You should not be telling people the ways that you see their systems failing. You should not be speaking about how we as a company could be better, right? So we retrain Pat to be less effective. Now here she is in middle management. She's not that clear. Maybe she's efficient, but her emotional intelligence is shot because we told her she's a bad person for being able to understand what the emotional landscape is in the room. And also, she's not good at logistics anymore because we told her to stop telling other people what inputs and outputs she needed for her department to be successful, right? We've done a lot to make her more comfortable, not for the company, not for the product, the service, but for fuck ass Peter over here who cannot get through the day without harming people of color and women, right? And then the final iteration, of course, we promote Pat up here if she goes along with Peter's plan and muzzles herself. She gets up here, and now she has no skills. No skills. We're in the same space, right? Except making Peter happy. And it turns out making Peter happy is not actually our product. That's not the service we offer as an organization or a company. So now this woman who came into this organization with all of these skills cannot figure out how to hit her numbers. And now Peter gets to feel like he is special again because Pat sucks. That's the Pat principle. Thank you. I will be taking questions.